All right, cool. All right, Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And welcome to another Sabbath Sanctuary, episode 47. Nothing about this is normal. And pretty much the title speaks for itself, right? As we can all see the things that have been happening a lot, especially the news as of late. Right, I put the back drop, as you can see. Trump threatens use of Insurrection Act in Minnesota, and what's interesting about all this is you have the talk, right, of these very extreme dystopian things that are now so normal, right? When you go back to I don't know, 20 years ago, right? 15, even 10 years ago, things like this you wouldn't see on mainstream media, right? Things like Iran and war and World War III and the Ish people, you wouldn't see that on mainstream media. You'd have to go and watch David Icke or Storm Clouds Gathering, right? Or some of those alternative sites, right? To hear about this kind of information. But now, not only are you hearing it in mainstream media, you're hearing it at like intense levels, right? You're hearing about literally we're living through rumors of wars, right? Just recently there was a rumor of it was a rumor of war because it was rumored that Trump was going to attack Iran, and if he did that, that would have led to a war. Okay, so we're living actually in these times, and you see this transition, this back and forth between geopolitical tensions and then internal tensions, then geopolitical tensions, then internal tensions. There's some AI news, right? And so the Lord is stirring up, like imagine a pot filled with different, ingredients and so on. As you stir it up, each ingredient starts to become more and more potent, right? Which makes the soup or the broth or whatever you have in there more potent, right? The salt, the pepper, the spices, all of those things start to get mixed up in there. And that's what we're seeing, right? The Lord is stirring up the pot of prophecy, copyright. He's stirring up the pot of prophecy. And that's why we're seeing all these things take place. Because now, threatening to use the Insurrection Act, they've already thrown out the possibility of martial law. All right. Now you have it to where you have ICE, and this is a form of priming. Okay, this is actually a hyper gradualistic state. Okay, gradualism is a slow process, but this is hyper gradualism, and they're able to do this because they've already dumbed the people's minds so low that they can actually speed up their gradual process. So they may not need to take 10 years. They can just take 10 steps in 5 years. Okay, it's still a gradual process, but it's in a shorter time. So just like when they first had the whole Trayvon Martin situation with George Zimmerman and all that, that was everywhere. Everybody's making a fuss over it. Now, Edomite cops shoot black people all the time, and it's it happens. He was probably doing something wrong anyway. Nobody's out there protesting. It was the Mike Browns, the Trayvon Martins and the other people that were there, and then that was it. Because people's minds got conditioned. It became like it's not that big of a deal anymore. So in the past, had something like this happen, when was this? I forgot how. I think this might have been during the George Floyd protests. They sent in National Guard troops, federal agents, and people were complaining, "Oh no, you got to get them out of here." They're grabbing people, they're zip tying them, right, and then they're putting them in unmarked vehicles, and they're taking them places and all that. People made a big deal out of that, but now they shot a woman. Okay, and you know what the response was? The federal government didn't back off like they did during the time of the George Floyd protests, where they were like, "Oh, we'll just repeal the National Guard. These people are getting out of hand." No, they're pushing back and they're telling you, "Look, you are obstructing federal justice," and they have immunity. So they're telling their men on the ground, "You do what you need to do. We got your back." So shortly after that lady got shot fatally, they said another dude got shot in the leg for was attacking an ICE agent with a shovel. So what you're seeing is they're with a shovel is crazy work. They're stirring up the people to get crazier and then justifying the reaction of these agents. That's the chaos that they want. These are agents of chaos. that are going exactly in the direction that they want. Meanwhile, they're using social media and all these things to keep people oblivious, so they don't see the extent of where this is going. People only see as far as what's in front of them. They don't see where it's actually going, and they're gonna wake up one day, okay, and realize, oh shit, what the? And when I say wake up, I don't mean get up out of bed. I mean having your eyes actually opened and maybe your nose bleeding because you just got gun butted by an agent and wondering how the hell did ICE get in here? They've been in here for the past couple months, but you were blinded. Okay, when you end up in a labor camp because you thought it was conspiracy theories, it would never be the case. You wanted to trust the science. Now the science got you in the labor camp, you know what I'm saying, eating maggots and shit, and you freezing your ass off. Okay, but that's the trust. You got to trust the science. But you brothers got it.
Hey, Khan, that's a beautiful segue because I was actually about to, me, I was going to go right into that because we're seeing the steps. And I did a lesson on that, I believe, yesterday that Trump and the DHS, DOJ, all them agencies are, especially with ICE, are getting ready to set up dissenters camps, right? Basically, FEMA camps, like we've been saying. All right, and it's being done all across the states now. They're just rebranding something that already exists that we've been calling out for years that they called conspiracy theories, right? A lot of these things that we were saying 10 plus years ago that were called conspiracy theories are now becoming reality, but they've rebranded them. So now you're not hearing, oh, there's going to be martial law in the streets and the FEMA troops are going to be taking you down. They're introducing those things with the ICE situation. Like Bakar, like you said, it's all priming. Okay, they're priming the minds of the people to accept these things. And it's also a test to see where it's checking the pulse of the people because, like you said, a lot of things that's happening now, 10, 15, 20 years ago, people would have been in uproar. There would have been protests in the streets, like legit protests. And I'm not talking about, when I say protests, I don't mean females in the streets holding signs and being emotional. I'm talking about men. Like foreign nations, when they protest, is different from how niggas over here protest. Like you go to the foreign, like France, for example. Farmers in their trucks with potatoes going to the parliament, putting potatoes everywhere. Like, yo, if you don't give us what we want, we're going to fuck up your whole shit. That's a protest. Like, we messing up the system over here, right? There's men in the streets. We out here like, yo, listen, we're not backing down. Let's go. It's a clash. Not no females and ICE agent shoots a female in the face as she's died, as she's dead, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, what's happening? Oh my God, you guys are crazy. Nah, bro, it gets worse. It gets worse. And like you said, Trump is giving them that battery pack. Because this morning I was actually watching a video of this lady that said that she had applied to be an ICE agent, and she said after the process of her applying for that position, she said now she's afraid of who are they even hiring. They don't even know who the fuck they're hiring, bro. She said she got the job, and they put the date that they put on there was 3 days before she actually got the application to actually get the position. So they had already, like, as soon as you put your application in there, they've already processed everything. Whether you take a drug test or not, it doesn't matter. You already got the job. So then she's like, oh, I'm not comfortable with, like, holding guns and going into people's homes and all that shit. He said, no. We're going to give you training for 6 months. You're just going to be passing papers around in the streets, blah, blah. Yo, the very next week, they told her, listen, you're ready to hit the streets with guns and shit. Eventually, we want everyone to have guns. So get ready. She said, wait a minute. But I'm not ready for this yet. And they said, well, we need more agents. We're recruiting by the thousands, if not the millions at this point, right? And who are they recruiting? They're recruiting niggas who have sex offender records. They have felonies. They have all kinds of different charges, okay? And what the administration is doing for them is, look, if you pledge allegiance to us, we're going to give you immunity. We're going to give you benefits, which is way better than what the American people are getting right now. Like, jobs ain't that good, right? What's minimum wage right now? What's even the highest form of job security that people have? It's not like that anymore, right? There was a time where corporations were afraid, or even governments were afraid of not getting the support of the people. But now it's not that. It's more of, look, you do as we say, or you're not getting shit from us, because all these corporations are band together now. You see, so they're bringing in their own Gestapo. This is all Nazi Germany. We did a lesson on this last year, 2024, I think. Yeah. Before Trump came in, we said this is all Nazi Germany coming back. Show me your papers. It's all being reincarnated. Okay? When you look at all these different tyrannical governments, they did the same exact thing that America is doing right now. Same exact thing. All right? The government pitching against the people, and then they created this division for the other side of the people to band against their own selves. It's Republican versus Democrats. Well, if you're a Republican and you're seeing a Democrat being beaten down by an ICE agent, a federal agent, you should be saying, hold on, man. We're all Americans, bro. You pledge an allegiance to protect and serve the Constitution and to help us. You're beating down. I don't care if he's a Democrat and I'm a Republican. He's still an American. You beating him down for what? Right? Because he's coming against whatever y'all niggas is doing. Well, I have a problem with that. As an American, I have a problem with that. That's how the mind should be. But no, they're all divided. And that's how they get conquered. Okay? But again, this is all biblical prophecy. There's a book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, and verse 3 says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. And what vision is this? A vision of the end times, right? The vision of the end times includes civil wars, civil riots, okay, famines, pestilences, violence, all right? Many different prophets talked about these times, and they never ever described it as a time of peace. Even though the government is telling you this is all to bring peace and safety, they all saw it as a troublous time like never before. So how come we telling you these things? These things are actually playing out, and people are still sitting around like it's all good, like it gets better. It gets better. It's magically just gonna get better. We're not doing nothing about it, but it's just gonna get better because we believe it, right? You've been told many times, yo, your Constitution is just a piece of paper. You gotta actually defend that shit. But Americans are resting on their leaves, like the Constitution is there. That's enough. That's all I need to have. Like, oh, I have my Constitution. No, nigga, you're supposed to protect that shit. You're supposed to make sure you protect that shit. But right now, it's too late. It's way too late in the game, bro. They already got the troops in the streets. It's over. All right, you're not coming back. And all your presidents, all your Kristi Noem, before Trump came in for 2016, Kristi Noem, J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, what's the other guy? Ted Cruz. All the what's the other nigga's name? Damn, I forget his name, but he's in his cabinet right now. Okay, all of them were speaking against Trump. All of them were saying, "Oh, he's racist. He cannot be trusted. Trump is a con man. He's a con artist." All these people, bro. 8 years later, they all flipped the switch. Now they're on his cabinet, working with him. Oh, Tulsi Gabbard, that's her name. Okay, they were all saying we cannot have Trump in here. He's a narcissist. He's a racist. He's this. He's that. He doesn't care about the Constitution. He's not. He's a businessman who's a con artist. He's not supposed to be president. He's going to get us into a war with Iran. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. 8 years later, they're all in his cabinet. What happened? Huh? What happened? They all sold out. That's what happened. Okay, and they all pledge allegiance to who? The Jays. Okay, so there's big war that's coming, and that's all what the prophecy says. This is the time for that. Okay, it wasn't 10 years ago, it wasn't 20 years ago, 30. This is the time for that, man. All right, it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. This is the time, but at the end, which is this time, it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry, and that's the trick. You see, the Lord set it up in such a way that only the elect are always going to understand the times that we're in. Everybody else who's not of the elect, they see these things and they're like, oh, it's just like the last time. The government shutdown that's coming up at the end of this month. Most people are going to be like, oh, well, last time we had a shutdown, it went on for a month or two, but everything came back on. Everything was back to normal again. At least we were able to go back to doing what we got to do, right? That's the mindset. So these are all things that the Lord does to keep your guard down. If you're not of the elect, you're not going to be watching. But the Lord told us, he said, watch as well as pray. So when you're watching, no matter what the situation is, you're always going to be watching. Even if it seems like all hell's breaking loose, you're watching. Even if it's like, ain't nothing going on. Because I remember even Bakar and I, we used to talk about this. This was probably like a couple of years ago. And we used to sit there and be like, yo, man, like, I feel like ain't nothing going on, bro. It felt dead for months, where it's like no news, no real heavy things going on in terms of prophecy. And you're just going about like the mundane, like you're just doing lessons. You're not really going into anything prophetic besides breaking down the prophecies. But nothing was happening. And it will go on for months. And we just be sitting there mad bored, like, yo, like, I feel like nothing is going on. Like, it's like a stalemate. Like, it's a standstill. Like, ain't shit going on. Like, what's like, it's like everything is dead. And we just sit there for months. And we'll be like, Lord, like, we need something to happen. Like, we, what I'm saying? We want to get hyped. Like, what, you know what I'm saying? And then, the Lord says, oh, yeah, you do? Okay, cool. Let me work. And then he started taking the gloves off. And then we start seeing things happen. We're like, oh, shit, hold up, man. This might be it, man. Look what's going on. But the Lord's like, no, just watch me. I'm just getting started. You see what I'm saying? You got to spark the fire. You see, just like you said about gradualism, right? It's the same thing with the boiling frog method, right? You spark the fire, and then you let the water, start getting hot. You start seeing those little bubbles at the bottom of the pot, and then it starts to get hot, and it starts to boil, and then next thing you know, it's boiling all over. But sometimes you might set the fire at the same pace, but the water's reaction as time goes on, it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. You don't have to turn up the heat. You could just keep the heat right there. But once it gets to a certain point, it's called the boiling point. You're going to start seeing the water boiling. You see? So it's the same thing about prophecy. But the difference now is we've gotten to a point where you start to see the water boil, but now the Lord is now turning up the heat. So now it's like, oh shit, like damn, it's boiling, but knowing that it's going to get even hotter. That's the thing. So we're at the stage where now you're starting to see the water bubble, the water is starting to boil, but now you're about to get the heat turned up, which is going to make it even hotter. It's like, oh shit, like, and then the frog is still in there, like, now he's jumping, like, yo, what the fuck was going on? Like, oh, it's getting warm in here. You know what I'm saying? I know something is wrong, but it's kind of comfortable. I don't want to get out yet until it's too late where you cannot get out at all. That's when the truth's going to be at your door. Where you going? It's 3 in the morning, midnight, right? At 3 in the morning, whatever the case may be, and you sleeping laid up with your Eve in boxer shorts, bundled, covered up underneath the sheets and shit. And all you hear is a big thump on your door. Boom! Hey, don't move, hey. With flashlights in your eyes and shit. What are you gonna do then? All right? They're showing you what they're going to be doing in your homes right now in the streets. It goes from the streets into your homes, nigga. That's what's coming. All right. And that's why it says it's going to be like a time like never before. They shall be like madmen sparing none. This is the prelims that leads to that. Okay. Because right now they're getting that bravado like, yo, oh, we got immunity. Oh, we can do this shit. And guess what? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. They have that spirit of we got that power. We going to wild out with that shit. And most of these ICE agents are not even Americans, bro. They're all, most of them are IDF agents. And like I said, they have felony records and all that. And they're the ones who are going to be in charge of these FEMA camps once they set up. Sex offenders and all that. And all you women that gonna end up in there, you don't think they're gonna be having a good old time with y'all women over there? Of course they will. Latinas included. They coming for everyone. So get ready, you big booty Latinas. You go. If you get your ass caught up in them ICE centers, you gonna wish you had a man of the Lord to help you up. And, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Just I'm gonna pass it. Y'all brothers got it.
Well, I just want to say, well, some of the ICE agents are already having fun with them because, this person was telling me how some ICE agents be straight up taking females off the streets and taking them to corners and raping them, and you have other people also disguising themselves as ICE agents and doing the same shit. And I just want to add to the when Haran was talking about it's only for the elect, you know. Even though there is no private interpretation, there's still an interpretation, which is why the scriptures were written the way they were, because it's not meant for everyone, it's only for the elect. You know, the Lord uses different symbols to represent things, and it's also the reason why Yahweh Shai spoke in parables, because the book is a mystery, and it's only revealed to those that the Lord opened their minds. And I have a quick precept. This is the book of Amos, chapter 3 and 7. And it reads, surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto his servants the prophets. Why? Why does he do that? Because the Bible is full of mysteries, and not everyone is able to break those mysteries down. You know, only the elect of the Lord. Oh,
That's
that's
right.
it.
That's right. Very beautifully said. And the reality is already here, but people are actually delusional. Normal people would have already they would already been in a panic by now because reality is already set in. But once again, people are delusional. Okay, it's like it's like when somebody breaks into your house and you in your room and you think that it's your relative that's already in there because you heard footsteps. So here it is, you got a creep sitting in your living room for the past 2 hours, and you just in your room thinking, oh, that's probably your mom or your brother or whatever. Till you walk out to go get something from the fridge and you see this, you walk right past the nigga. Oh, hey, how you doing? Okay, all right, you get this stuff, and then you stop for a second. Wait, hold on. I see a big nigga with a beard on my freaking couch. So I'm like, hey, how you doing? What? And then you go back and that's it, And the thing about this world, right? Nothing is normal about this. I think one thing that's especially interesting is the people. Okay. People are not normal. You got not normal people complaining about abnormal people. Okay. You got not normal people who themselves are not normal are complaining about how not normal the world is. All right. They're like, yo, like you can't the dating pool is messed up. You people just do shit that doesn't make sense. Okay. And then they just fine with it, like as if it's normal. It's like somebody just walking past you and they just like scream and blurt out some random shit, and then they just go on like an NPC, just continue like everything is all good. And you're looking at them like, yo, this guy just do that? And then they just, what's your problem? And then they just keep on going. That's where the world is. It's not normal. Like, you look at people, the way they think, the things they do, the way they go about, and you sit there and wonder, yo, like, how are, like, we blend in, but we know what's going on. You have people that are not acting, they're not blending in. No, this is their actual life. Like, they're just like down for the ride. And that roller coaster is going to take them all the way down. These are the same idiots that get on a freaking skydiving plane without a parachute, ready to jump off. And you're asking them, where's your parachute? Oh, what you mean, where's my parachute? Bitch, you about to jump off of a plane and you talking about what do I mean? Where's your parachute? That's these people. And like Aharon was going into, man, and brothers was saying, we will need power. Okay, we're going to need divine intervention. Look, when you go into the time of the Maccabees, Antiochus and his armies, right? The different Seleucid kings and so on, they weren't coming with unmanned drones. Okay, they weren't coming with freaking microwave weapons. They weren't coming with AI robots. They weren't coming with robot dogs from Boston Dynamic. Okay, they weren't coming with that. They weren't coming with weapons of mass destruction. But guess what? It was so intense. We needed the Lord to come down and fight for us. The Lord sent angels to come and defend us in that time. So that's how bad it was, that even them just coming with men with shields and swords and all, not even guns, shields and swords and all that, we needed divine intervention. And guess what? The Lord sent actual warriors. He sent angels down who fought with us in war, who fought with us in battle. How much more for this time? If they got that kind of help back then, you think the Lord is going to leave us defenseless? He said that. He's not going to leave us defenseless, because we are, without the Spirit of the Lord, defenseless. And this enemy is coming with weapons that even in the ancient world, they didn't even know existed. These are destructive weapons. You know what a hollow tip bullet can do to a human body? The shit expands on impact. Okay? So when they come with those things, how does it make sense for the Lord to just leave us out here? When people who came with less things, he defended us back then. It doesn't. Okay? We're going to need that. And best believe when the Lord blesses us with that, the level of security that we're going to have, it's going to be a two all-time highs. For the wicked, for those that were disobedient, it's going to be an all-time high of pain, suffering, and regret continually. Like, you won't even have time to feel the pain of regret because of how much pain you're actually in. And each time you try to regret it, there's more pain on top. And it just doesn't stop. It's like an avalanche of just calamities. More, and it's piling up more and more and more and more and more. And on the other hand, imagine the Lord bless you with spiritual power in this time. You're gonna have a field day, because you gonna be the problem. You're gonna be like, listen, bro, you better not come over here. Like, don't do it to yourself. You don't kick down a man in the Lord's house with guns in his face. You're gonna end up like that movie, one of the X-Men movies, when they kick down the door and they try to raid the mansion where the mutants were. And they found out that's the movie that had the I forgot the guy's name, but his power was he was able to make his whole body like metallic, and then the freaking bullets bounce off of him. You had Wolverine over there, you had the ice dude, you had the fire dude over there, and they freaking messed them freaking cops up. That's what it's gonna be like. You come against the men of the Lord. Everybody else, they're gonna be mowing them through left and right, left and right, left and right. But I got a quick precept, then I pass it. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 71. Because Aharon mentioned this as well. It says here, they shall be like madmen, sparing none. If they're sparing none, it means they're spoiling everybody. So how are we going to be spared? Not by them, but by the Lord. So they're not going to spare you. The Lord is going to defend you when they come against you. But still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord, at least that'll be their intention. For they shall waste and take away their goods. Okay, that's guess what? Your woman is a good. When you deal with spoils of war, women and children were included in that. Gold, silver, anything of value. So when they take away your goods, that includes the things that they find good. So maybe you should go find an ugly woman, because then they might not want to take her. They say, you good, you can hold on to that. That's punishment enough. But it says here, and cast them out of their houses. Just like the brother was saying, they're going to come into your house. They're going to grab you up. They're going to cast you out your houses. But guess what? You think they come in because they want your cheap ass freaking $1,500 a month apartment? They want to come and live in there? No, They're not casting you out the house so they can use the house. They're casting you out the house to throw you somewhere else so they could use you. All right. It says here, then shall they be known who are my chosen. This is the same setup as Isaiah 59 and 19. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against them. So when they come to do all these things, then it's going to be known who are the Lord's chosen. Because guess what? Everybody's going to be afraid. Yo, these guys are like madmen. They're literally, there's a reason why it says they shall be like madmen, because that's the reaction people are going to have with how these troops are going to be moving out here. They're going to be like, yo, these people are like madmen. Like, they're crazy. You're going to be hearing that. Yep. I saw that as a put that in the chat. DHS said citizens should be prepared to show citizenship. That's where your checkpoints and all that come from. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. You get stopped at you shopping, and then boom, all of a sudden you see them. They got the badge. Everybody got to stop. Prepare, line up. You got to show citizenship. And you see mad people, even freaking cashiers, being hauled off. Okay, these are the times that not we're coming into. These are the times that we're living in. But you know what people are worried about? Nonsense. So it says here, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for God is your guide. And that's all you need to know. When the time comes, guess what? The Lord already got us. He got us on a separate list. Okay, but for the rest of these people, man, hey, you're going to be in a very, very sorry situation. Yeah, you got it, Shalom. I know you said you had a point.
Yeah, Khan, I'm just going to add off to what your brothers were saying, but essentially, like you were saying, or you named the title of the lesson, things are not normal, but in the spirit, for us, these things are normal because we've already been warned of these things to happen, right? Like the brother Aharon brought out the precept earlier about Habakkuk, though it tarry, wait for it, it will surely come. So people, because they're not paying attention, they're not seeing things, to them, it's like, well, what's going on? Like family members, they'll say this man Trump is moving like a dictator. He's going crazy. But to us, these things are normal. It's not a surprise. It's like these things are supposed to happen. We were warned, like you were mentioning about a person just randomly screaming, acting like an idiot in the street. But we already told about people being lovers of themselves, men pleasers and things like that. People being incontinent, fierce, right? If I'm not mistaken, you go into our word fierce, it means savage. So we've already been warned that, hey, these things that are abnormal are actually going to become normal. The things that are how people act abnormally, that they're not supposed to act, like it says in Matthew 24, for because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. That's something that's not normal, but eventually it will become normal where people are not going to care about one another. People are not going to have love towards one another. People are not going to have that just to keep it simple, that love towards one another. So in the spirit, these things are normal for us to see, but for the everyday average person, these things are not normal. So how much more, like you were mentioning about spiritual power, our minds already primed that, hey, spiritual power is going to come. But for some people, that's going to be seen as an abnormal thing, a crazy thing. Like, yo, I just saw this man just fly up in the air. I just saw him just heal a wound of somebody, or they may have like had a missing arm and the whole arm just regenerated. Like, what the hell is that? But to us in the spirit, like I was saying, that is something normal, because what we expected, our minds have already been primed to, hey, expect these type of things, seek out these type of things. These things are going to happen. So like you were mentioning, for those who are not aware, these things are going to be like, what the hell is that? But for us, it's going to be normal, because we already been warned that, hey, society is going to get abnormal, but understand that this is going to be the normal course of prophecy. This is how things are going to be until the Lord comes back.
That's right. That's right.
That's it.
Yeah, I just saw a video of the ICE border patrol agents, and they just literally pulled over some dude, regular. It looked like an American guy, right? And they just spoke to him. Yo, you resist for 5 seconds, they break your window, they pull your ass out. It's game over at that point. So some dude in the comments said, "Oh, all DHS federal agents are going to serve time." I'm like, who's going to bring them up to justice? That's the first question you need to understand. You need to ask yourself, because understand that we are, and I've done a lesson on this before, called we're under martial rule. With martial rule, your executive branch, your judicial branch, your legislative branch are all under some form of control by the executive power. Okay, through military, what they call that, military rule, but really a combination of admiralty law, not so much law of the land, so to speak, right? Which law of the land is common law, right? Which is, going back to the scriptures, the law based on the scriptures, right? Which is what the English used to rule by, the kings and so on and so forth. But now you got people who are, like we said before, the whole Constitution thing, that shit is all dead and gone, bro. The whole Constitution thing is gone. After 9/11, you forget about it. So my thing to people who got this whole thing of this whole normalcy bias spirit going on, where you're like, oh, that's still America. Like, this is insane. How can you be doing this to American citizens? Yo, it's over with, bro. If you have the ability right now, I'm talking about finances or somewhere to go outside of Babylon, now is the time to do so. Now is the time to do so, because through the spirit after March, because typically the spirit is where, March, April, May, around there is when they start really picking things up. It might kick off before then, but around March area, you're going to see a different tone, because March is a month of war. Going to the Roman god Mars, or the Greek Martius, or Martius, same thing, right? That's when they really kick things off. Okay, it's a ritualistic thing that around that time of the year, there's a high vibration of the spirit of war, Aries. Okay, so they're going to be pushing a lot more war. But who are they going to be making war the war against? It's not just geopolitically, right? You got Iran, you got Russia, and all these different players, right? Because Russia is now starting to get into the frame, right? When you look at what's going on with this whole Denmark, Greenland shit with America, you got Germany and a whole bunch of different European countries who are sending their troops to Denmark and ultimately to Greenland to go and protect that place against America. And Putin came out and said, yo, if America does anything to Greenland, we're gonna have a problem. Especially if you go against Denmark, we really gonna have a problem. But you better not think about taking over Greenland. It's gonna be a huge problem. But a lot of people are not understanding is Greenland's takeover by America, Babylon the Great, is not about security reasons like they say. Remember, you still have a technocratic oligarchy going on, right? All these different people, Larry Ellison, Sam Altman, Bill Gates, all these different people that have actual power in America and around the world through their corporations, they want to have Greenland as their home base to rule from, not America. They don't want to be in America. They're destroying America from within so that they can leave America, leech off of the power of America while she's using that power to gain access to natural minerals around the world from America's perspective. So America becomes this beast of military power that they're going to be controlling from Greenland. That's why they want to have that piece of land. It's a huge land, and it has rare earth minerals, like they say. So it's a perfect place for them to build this perfect world where only the elites are. And then when you come to America, it's just the peasants, right? The working class, people who are miserable. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no jobs, labor camps left and right? 15-minute cities, just living a miserable ass life, ruled by AI and surveillance all over the place, man. And if you say anything else, your overlords that are in Greenland, they're going to use AI to get your ass, man, while you're here in America. They can do that. Okay? So right now, it's a battle of elites. That's why Trump is pushing so hard for them, because he's their guy. They put him in there so he could run shit for them. You see what I'm saying? He could earn your trust, lie to you, deceive you, and then get you into this. That's why the scripture describes him as what? The cruel Lord. Okay? Because you've seen his tone is changing. We told you this was going to happen. He's going to turn on you. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, who's the conspiracy theorist now? So it's all playing out just like the scripture said it will play out. Okay? But I got a quick precept here that I'm going to pass it. There's a book of, get it right here. This is a book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. And I'm going to start off at verse 3. I'll start off at verse 1. It says, but of the times and the seasons, all right, going into Habakkuk, the second chapter about the times, right? And the times of the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, because all of us are in like-minded spirit, as in we're seeing these things happening. We're like, this is exactly what we've been waiting for, because we talked about this, right? We spent years bringing out the same information about how bad things are about to be. And we gave you everything that you see now. We told you years before it happened. Okay? It says, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night, meaning there are a lot of people who are not going to be expecting the return of Yahushua. All right? I mean, think about it. We're the only ones on the earth that actually believe that Yahushua is coming back. That's the only thing that we're looking forward to. Everybody else is just like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever. Like, Bakar, like you said, like Shalman, like you said, you got just a whole bunch of people doing random ass shit. And then they catch themselves like, oh shit, I got demons on me. And then they turn around and be like, what's your problem? Like, nigga, you got demons on you. That's a problem, nigga. You know what I'm saying? And they just run around. It's like every day, mad people got demons on them, right? Verse 3 says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Okay? A lot of these people getting pulled over by ICE agents, they're not escaping that shit. Right? You might have one or two niggas that might just run off, and because it's ICE being attacked by ice. That's a pun, by the way. The snow on the ground is ice, so the ice is slipping. Right? Ice on ice, right? But you might have a couple niggas that may escape some shit like that. But the reality is, most people who get grabbed up by these gang members, bro, you're not escaping. You're not going nowhere. You're being gripped by ICE agents, and you're being violated completely. If you don't die, well, the rest is is a little bit left. That's of you, right? You got fake niggas' faces being beat down into the concrete. You know what I'm saying? Niggas bleeding, losing teeth here and there and shit. You know what I'm saying? You might fuck around, your arm might be broken. And guess what? They have full immunity. They can do it. They shall be like madmen, sparing none. They got women. They got older women. Yo, I seen an ICE agent tackle an old ass man. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to get after somebody. The nigga ran away, so he got mad. So he's like, who's the next victim around me? Let me get this nigga. I was like, damn. Yo, spare none for real, bro. Like, oh, you in my way, like, you next, nigga, you the one. Like, it's like, damn, but how did you do nothing though? Remember that video before where you had the two crackheads that was fighting, going back and forth, and then you had this one dude standing at the train pillar. He was just standing there minding his own business, and the shit says, the meme commentary says, when you fighting and then you lock onto the wrong NPC, and homie just standing there minding his own business. Next thing he knew, he was taking punches in the face. Bah, bah, bah. He's like, yo, what the fuck? Now he got to defend himself. Meanwhile, he's not even the one that the nigga was fighting. But he just got involved because he was standing right there. So he just got to take the hit like a straight bullet. That's what a lot of people was going to be happening to a lot of people. And they also said that if they're doing their ICE raids and you happen to be in that area, they're going to consider you obstructing their investigation or whatever they're doing. So that means that you're going to be implicated. So they could come after you, even if you mind your own business, but you just happen to be in that area. They have technology like that right now, where if something happens, there's a crime that happens, and you just happen to be driving around that area when the crime happened, you might be just, oh, I'm just trying to take a shortcut to get to work because there's so much traffic on the highway. And there's a crime that happened over there. Guess what? They have technology that tracks everyone's license plate that passed around that time. It tracks your phone, everything. So they're going to come to your house. Wherever you went, they're going to come there and be like, hey, listen, the AI thing says that your license plate was flashed during the time of the crime, even though you have no idea there was a crime there. But your license plate was passed around that time. So we're investigating to ask you some questions. What do you know about this shit? And you have, I know nothing. What crime are you talking about? Well, there's a crime that happened down the block and we saw your car passing during that time. So you must know something. That's how they're moving now. So it's like, when you really think about it, there is no such thing as, America's first or safety or nothing. No, it's over with. The concept of safety that they were preaching, they're doing the opposite. Okay. And that's the devil for you. He always does the inversion, right? So it says here, it says, verse 4, it says, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Okay. So the times that leads to the return of our Lord, right? We're very much in tune of everything that happens step by step by step. You could pretty much say we're in lockstep with prophecy because we are the ones who are telling you these things are happening. And then when they happen, we're like, oh, there you go. We check it off of the list. Okay. It says, ye are the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. Okay. For they that sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet, the hope of salvation. Okay, so that's the key. And like we just read this, but how many people, even in the so-called Christian churches, actually believe these things? They just say it, right? You got Drewski that just made a whole funny little skit about these pastors and shit, like how the churches behave and all that. And I'm like, yo, this doesn't even look like a skit. This looks like something you actually see in real life. Like, it's almost like word for word, like everything he was saying, the jokes, how he was playing it out, the people jumping around, laughing. I was like, yo, this is like a real congregation. Like, is he in a real church doing this shit? You know what I'm saying? That's what it looked like. Okay. But that's an indictment against you churchgoers, because here it is, we're at the end of the world. We were in the churches, they were teaching about, oh, the end of the world and judgment day and all that. Well, we're approaching that day. But where are you Christians at, man? Where the fuck you niggas at? Where the pastors at? Where you guys giving Geno Jennings and all the, where you guys at telling the people about the times that we're in? Okay? It seems like we're the only ones who are warning the world, but nobody's listening. And then when it happens, they all want to come around and act like we never said these things. Like, oh, you guys are the reason why these things are happening. No, motherfucker, you just didn't listen. You heard the warning. We don't have any power to bring these things to come to pass. We only have the power to know that they're coming to pass and tell you about it. Everything else is out of our hands. We can't save you from it. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not the ones bringing it. We can't help you. We could just tell you it's coming. And then the rest, you got to deal with it between you and your God. Whatever God you serve at that point. We know the God we serve. Okay? So yeah, man, there's a lot more that's coming, bro. I'm telling you, listen, 2026 is going to go down in history as one of, if not the worst time in human history, all across the board. And it's all going to be, who's going to be behind it? You got the Jays and you got Babylon. Yeah, every time you look at it, you're going to be like, I see why the Lord's going to destroy this place. It makes sense. They have to do something that will be etched in history as to, yes, I see why. Because their rebellion is not a rebellion against humanity. Their rebellion is against the Heavenly Father and His Son. And when you push to that kind of level and that kind of pride, yo, the only thing that you can really do is destroy. Really, because the Lord says, I've created man in my own image and likeness. So what's the best way to rebel against a God like that? I'm going to destroy his image and his likeness. I'm going to go after his people. See? So the stage is being set. And we said it, that once they start coming after you so-called blacks, right? You Negroes, when they start coming into your cities, right? They're not going to be using just ICE agents. It's going to be the real actual military. Okay? So you are the ones that they're really trying to reel in. It's all agitation. Everything they're doing is all agitation. Get you to react. Because the true action isn't the reaction, man. Okay? But we are not the children of darkness, so we can see these things. We're the children of light. Okay? Your brothers got it.
Yeah, the precept to add to you. This is Matthew 24:12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. So yeah, as it says, all right, the love of many shall wax cold. All right. And that's evidenced by how people are desensitized to so many different things. People are desensitized to death. People are desensitized to mayhem. People are just dying in the street and people don't even bat an eye anymore. And it's going to come to the point, like the brother said, you see how they work with gradualism. At the time of George Floyd, it was like more of a broad thing where everybody was drawn into it, because of the brutality and whatnot, right? So fast forward to now, I don't remember when was George Floyd? That happened, 2016?
Nah, I think it was more like 2020.
2020, later on. Okay. So 2020, fast forward 6 years later, we're in 2026, and people are dying left and right because also social media did that. Now people are seeing violent images. You had a dude get his head chopped off in Dallas last year, and you've seen the CCTV video. The guy rolled his head down the street, and it was like a red mark on the ground where the head rolled to. So, these type of things, and that's just one instance. You have so much violent, just constant violence being recycled on social media to where people are desensitized to it. What is that causing them? The love of many shall wax cold, to the point where now people are dying, and it's like there ain't gonna be no time to mourn. There's gonna be so many people dying and being destroyed as the madmen sparing none are going through these different cities. As the brother said, nobody even knows their identity. They've covered their face with masks. You can see in the background on the right there, the dude has his face covered. If you're doing something, you wouldn't feel the need to cover your face if you're doing something good. We go out on the highways and hedges. You don't see us with a mask. We showing our faces now because we have a just cause behind us, which is to serve Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. You see, but you have these people that are going to be dying by the droves, and it's going to get to the point where you're not going to be worried about mourning for the person that just died. You're going to be worried about your own ass. And how can I get my ass out of this situation? All right. Another side note, I just remember this. I don't want to forget to mention it. They're going to tie all of this in with the security issue, with the need to for the digital ID and the need for everybody to get that MOTB. And one more thing I wanted to add was Scott Ritter. You know about him. He's a political commentator, and he speaks out a lot about geopolitics and different things. He speaks out against what the administration be doing a lot of time, even if it's Biden, Trump, whoever it is. He's always like basically exposing a lot of things they do in geopolitics and and wars and different things, and the conflict with Iran and the conflict in Ukraine. And what happened with him is he just got debanked, and he came out doing videos saying that he got debanked. In other words, he had gone out with his wife or something, and then he goes to get some gas, and the guy gave his car back. He said, "Listen, this car got a decline." I said, "Damn, I mean, we have money on the car. It shouldn't be an issue." So then he tells his wife, "Yo, check the accounts and see what's going on." All of the accounts were zeroed out, and he's like, "Damn, what happened? I don't have no issue with the bank, whatever." Then he went and checked his mail. He got a letter from the bank that he didn't see that said, "We are now going to cease our service to you, and we're going to end this relationship with us. You banking with us." And then they were like, "We're going to give you a cashier's check for your money." The thing about it is, how good is that cashier's check going to be if you take it to the next bank and they say, "Oh, there's an alert on you in the system. You can't bank with them either." So damn, this cashier's check means nothing. Can you give me some gold? I'm sorry, sir. You're fucked. What are you going to do? And that's why we tell you, to store your treasures in heaven and not upon earth, man, because none of this is going to matter. No amount of worldly wealth that you accumulate can preserve you from what's getting ready to happen. There was even a rapper that mentioned it. Let me see if I can find the video, but he basically was talking about Gucci Mane and all these other rappers. He's like, "Y'all niggas talking all this shit. Wait till they drop that chip, and y'all gonna see. Okay, wait till they drop that device, and you ain't gonna be able to buy or sell without it, and you're gonna see." Because all of that flexing and all that shit with them chains and shit, you're not gonna be able to buy or sell unless you have that in your body soon. Okay, so the thing with Scott Ritter is an example, and notice how he's saying a lot of the similar things of what we say, talking about World War III, talking about these different things that's going on overseas, talking about Babylon the Great, America's misdeeds across the globe. So, and I believe he could be set up himself. He could be some guy that's just speaking on it, but he also may be set up just to say these things, which is obvious a lot of the time. But he was also juiced in. He has worked with administrations and presidents in the past. He's worked with the CIA. So they have that saying with the CIA, there is no ex-CIA members. Once you work for them, you work with them for life. So with him, that could just be a setup for him and us going in, breaking certain things and similar down. Okay, debank him. Well, now we have a reason to come and do the same to y'all. So this is why we warn you out there of the household of faith and teach you about these things so that you can be prepared mentally for what's about to happen. They're about to ban us from the system. That's what you have to understand. So if you're not willing to walk away from all of this, okay, just like and to remember Lot's wife and to not be like that example, then you're going to get caught up in it because you love the world more than you love Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. All right. So this world is finished. Okay. Depart from it. Mentally separate yourself from this place. Do your daily deeds of what you have to do. Handle your business. I'm not saying it just, "Oh, well, he said separate, so I'm quitting my job and I'm going to go live in the wilderness." That's not what I'm saying. That's not what any of us are saying. We're saying mentally prepare yourself and pray to the Lord to give you a spirit to separate from this place and pray for the Lord to protect you, because ultimately we want that, because that's when the Lord is going to intervene on our behalf to deliver us from these situations. All right. Because he's not going to let his men starve. All right. He's going to preserve them. All right. He's going to preserve us from the sword, from the dogs to tear. All of these things that's coming is for the wicked. Okay. For the wicked of our people, and for you wicked ass heathens of these other nations and you Edomites here in America. And the best saved for last is going to be the bankers that went into the bunkers. All right. All right. So they think they're going to be debanking us when it comes to the kingdom, they're going to be completely banned. All right. And they're going to be put in a pit. So everything that they're seeking to do to us, just like the example of Haman, okay, Everything that they sought to do to Israel is going to come upon their own head. But y'all got it.
Zaquan put a precept on here, 2nd Ezra 16:40. O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. And that's the beautiful thing about the scriptures, is that the Lord has given us not just 2 days, 3 days, 2 months, but years worth of warnings and preparation for these times. So we know and we're aware, okay, of what the Lord is bringing and what we should do when these times come. But a lot of people, and like sometimes you can understand why Yahushua wept over, the city when he said, if only you knew what belonged unto your peace. Because you got people today where, they go through shit, but they bring it upon themselves. All right. They bring it upon themselves, not realizing that they're suffering judgments, sometimes small, sometimes great, for their misdeeds against the Lord. All right. Just because you are not aware of the Lord or you don't believe in the Lord does not negate how justice works with the Lord. Right. You may not believe in, like, if you've never heard of fire, you grew up in a society, there was no such thing as fire. Does that mean that you go and put your hand in fire for the first time, you won't get burned? No. The laws of life and physics and all these things, they exist no matter what. Your belief of them does not alter them. Okay. But when you tell these people, you try to warn them, a lot of them are set. They're I see why it's called dead set, because that's what these people are. They're dead set in their ways, and that's going to be to their demise. It's going to be to their death. And you look at it and you can see like exactly what is going to happen to you. Okay, you can see the face they have now and what's going to happen once the prophecies kick into full gear, whether it's you starving to death, you bleeding out with an unrecognizable face in the alleyway somewhere, having just barely escaped. Look, imagine this. Imagine you being because that's the that's the problem with social media today, is it puts a lot of these women on display. They put themselves on display, right? So here it is. You've put yourself on display so much, and now that time has come. I remember there was a movie Haran and I were watching. This is years ago, and it was like some post-apocalyptic movie. I forget what it had. The main character was like, I think it started with him driving some, like, it looked like a refrigerator, but it was chained up to the back of his car. I think it had a zombie or something in it. Long story short, in the movie, there's a scene in there where they try to go negotiate with some group, some like gangs or whatever, and they take this chick with them, right? She's one of the few chicks they got in their in wherever their base is. And I'm telling you, this chick is flatter than a Moabite freaking, I don't know, man. She's just flat as paper. She ain't got shit going on. That is her ass is concave inward, okay, like a reverse triangle. And she's there, and you got, like, they show you the scene of like the other side. And dude is like, damn, yeah, we need to take her. Yeah, we got to get our hands on her. And I'm looking at Haran. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, take what? It's already gone. But it just goes to show you that in that time, with how many people are dying, like if these people were that willing, for a freaking I don't know, a notebook, if they were that willing for that, what do you think they're gonna be willing for the accident causers, the wall runners? I say wall runners, they make you run up into a wall looking at that shit. You know what I'm saying? What do you think they're gonna be doing when they see them, in these times? And the thing, from somebody else's perspective, they might grab you up, hey, you come here, I'm taking it, come here, bitch. They grab you up and whatever, they assault you. You manage to escape. The problem is, from your perspective, you've had like 5 to 10 or 15 different near-death experiences that you just barely escaped from. The next person that sees you, this is their first go around. Oh shit, fine shit. For you, it's another repeat of 15 times you just tried to escape. And it's just like this ongoing cycle of, oh no, so you got to try to run and all this shit. And women are high maintenance. That's just a fact. Okay. A lot of them try to feign themselves to be this, that, and the third. No, if there's no water and no sanitary whatever for 2, 3, 4, 5 days, you're no, absolutely not. Okay, so we know how the world works, and we understand these things, and we've seen it because the Lord has said it. And we try to warn these people. And the thing when they're so dead set in their ways is they're just like a wall, and they're not a wall that's stationary. They're a wall that's trying to crush you when you're trying to warn them about the things that are coming. And it's sad because you don't know whether to be mad or sad, because you're like, damn, there's nothing you can do for this person. You're like, there's literally, like, you're looking at him and you can see why the Lord said what he said, because you cannot get through to these people. They're not normal people. They're abnormal. The world we live in is absolutely not normal. When you got men that grow breasts and breastfeed children, it's not normal. And society's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it is what it is. That's just how the world works. What? So this is why the the Lord has to bring this level of destruction, and this is why he's going to be merciless with it. So in the time of Jacob's trouble, we're not going to feel bad. You may see something and be like, damn, like this person, they're just like, they're in a very messed up situation, but the spirit will jump on you. Like Ghost Rider has that penance stare where he stares them in the eyes and he sees and brings back all the wicked shit they've done. We'll see that. We'll see your face and you look like you're suffering, but we'll know, oh, you were a demon. You deserve worse than the shit you're getting now. No. Get the hell out of here. Ain't nobody helping you. You go and suffer the fate that the Lord has set for you. You probably got 2-3 people killed, caught up, lied on this guy, said this, stole this, did that, and ruined people's lives, just being a straight demon. And now that you're hungry or you're in pain, you expect somebody to help you. That's not how the world works. That's not how the Most High works. And we cannot wait. We cannot wait till the Lord opens up. Sometimes you hear these things, man, and you just wonder, like, Lord, how? Like, we are mortal men. And we can't even stomach this, the half the madness these people say. How do you tolerate it? How is it that you have tolerated this, Lord? And what's scary above that? The scriptures tell you that it is better for the Lord to chastise you right away for your sins and your iniquity than for him to let it pile up. Because when he lets it pile up, he's coming to destroy you. He's not coming to correct you. And you look at Jake today, they're in a state where he's not correcting them. The Lord is not correcting these wicked Israelites that are out here. He's letting them get waxed worse and worse and worse. So what does that tell you? He's about to destroy them. He doesn't have plans on scourging them. The scripture said that what is it? They have scourges for amendment, right? But for all these things, they should not turn from their wicked ways. They're dead set in their wicked ways. They love it so. Like the scripture said, don't waste your breath, because we don't plan on stopping the wickedness that we're doing. So when that judgment comes, man, it's actually no joke to witness death in front of you. It's not a joke to see somebody getting stabbed up in their neck, and then 2 seconds ago they were alive, the next second they're dead. Like, this is horror. We're gonna be living in like one of the most horrific movies that has ever been in existence, and you're not just gonna be watching it, you're gonna be experiencing it. I always say this, man. The element of reality involves what you feel. If it's cold outside, you're feeling the cold, you're hungry, you're afraid, you probably don't smell good because you haven't showered, you're tired. Like, all of these things are things you don't get to experience in a movie theater. The only things you get in a movie theater are sound and sight. Okay. And yeah, your heart is racing and, oh shit, they cut the corner. Oh, the guy's chasing them and shit. No, they're tired. They're hungry. You're wondering, why is he running so slow? Maybe his leg is broken. In real life, you can get a tiny cut and that can be the end of you. You get infected. There's no antibiotics and then that's it. You're waxing worse and worse. No painkillers, no none of that. So people think that this is a game, man. There's nothing normal about this, and the Most High is about to show them. I got a precept here. This is Ezekiel 7:25. Destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none. And that's the thing. These same people that talk, they talk so proudly, are going to be the same people that are going to be seeking peace when these things come upon them. And the Lord says there's not going to be any peace. And you can't tell them that because you already know they're not going to get it. So you just got to look at them in their folly and just sit there and just be like, damn. Verse 26, mischief shall come upon mischief, and rumor shall be upon rumor. Like in those shows when something bad happens and then they open their mouth and say, oh, can it get any worse than this? And then boom, it gets worse than this. Mischief shall come upon mischief. They're going to experience the Job effect, except they're not going to get the latter end of it. Oh, your cousin's died. In the middle of that, oh, your aunties, oh, then your mom. And then you drive into the hospital, go see your sick relative, and you get in an accident. It says here, they shall seek then shall they seek a vision of the prophet. Now, they the same people that killed these prophets and told them to shut up and get out of here. We don't want to hear what you got to say. But now they're going to go seek a vision from them. But the law shall perish from the priest and counsel from the ancients, because the priests and the ancients were the teachers of the people. They are the ones that the people would go to when whatever, they needed information or advice or whatever on a matter. But the Lord says they're not going to have those answers. You're going to go on Google. You're going to try to call, people. You're going to try to get on social media. You're not going to have that. It's just going to be you and your fears and the Lord. Verse 27, the king shall mourn and the prince shall be clothed with desolation. And the hands of the people of the land shall be troubled. I will do unto them after their way and according to their deserts, will I judge them, and they shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh. And that's the ultimate factor of it, which is that we can't help you once the Lord gets involved. We have to stand back. We don't have a choice. It doesn't matter who you are. We're not gonna jump in and say, "Oh Lord, please, no." We cannot do that. So once the Lord starts bringing judgment, we got to step out the way, and that's why we're trying to tell you, shut the hell up, because you're gonna piss him off. And once he's pissed off at you, we can't do anything for you. And guess what? You're gonna be calling us. No, please, can you just pray for me? No, we can't just pray for you. No, we can't do that. You're going to need to endure whatever it is that the Lord has set for you. And the Lord will put the spirit on us to fall back and just let it be, suffer it to be so, because that's just how it has to be. But yeah, you brothers got it.
I had a precept. Aaron, you had something? All right, Kanye, I just want to get this going into what the brother said. Jeremiah 16:4, and it reads, they shall die of grievous deaths. They shall not be lamented, neither shall they be buried, but they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth. And they shall be consumed by the sword and by famine, and their carcasses shall be meat for the fowls of heaven and for the beasts of the earth. So, how much more cut and dry does it have to be? We're telling you people to your face, your body's going to be ate by wild animals when you die. A horrible, grievous death. Okay? And it's like they're just looking at you with that blank stare. No, that's a fairy tale. People really think the Bible is a fairy tale. It's a book of general advice. If you live by it, you'll live a better life. No, this is all real, man. And it's backed up by archaeology. Sodom and Gomorrah, that was just an allegory to help you understand. No, you can go and look in that region around the Dead Sea, and there's still brimstone. There's still brimstone. Okay? You can light it up and it turns blue. That's not a normal, that's not just something that you just randomly see out in the environment. That's an evidence of a divine judgment. And the Heavenly Father was pissed off back then. He was pissed off during the time of Jeremiah. Okay? And these things were written. So how much more now? You niggas got social media. You niggas got a platform to pronounce your wickedness to the world and spread it out even more. Like, how much worse can it be? That's how we know we're at the time of the end. And the Lord, like the brother said, they go 3 steps forward, 1 step back. And that's because it constantly, it shuts people's mind off. Oh, y'all said that. And then it's like, okay, well, nothing happened. Y'all said it was going to be this. Listen, we just presenting you the information. Do with it what you will. If the Spirit is with you, you're going to take heed. All right? But when the time comes, eventually, those steps forward, it ain't going to be no more steps back. Because right now, it'll be 3 steps forward, and you see how they're doing this in Minnesota. That is a testing ground to say, we're going to do this on the national level. But Minnesota's out kind of in the middle of nowhere, so we could go over there and have our way. Then we're going to bring it to NYC. Then we're going to bring it to Chicago. Then we're going to bring it to LA. All right? They just got every little thing. And this whole thing with Iran, people, now they kind of turn their mind off to it. He could come in and turn around and do this shit tonight or tomorrow. He's been known to lie, but either way, we're going to continue to watch for it because that's what watchmen do. Right? It says, So they're gonna be their carcasses shall be meat for the fowls of heaven and for the beasts of the earth. But thus saith, yeah, that BBL, all that fat you made it, you presented it nice on the that BBL is a platter for birds to come and crows to come and eat you alive. All right. Whether they're gonna eat you alive or when you're dead. Either way, it doesn't matter to them. All right. You're just food at that point. Both the great and the small shall die in this land, they shall not be buried. Neither shall men lament for them, nor cut themselves, nor make themselves bald for them. The crazy part is people think about their legacy in life. You know, people give off this type of vibe about this and that. All of these people in Babylon are pretty much soft for the most part. But everybody, when they die, they want to be remembered. They want people to go to their funeral. They want people to care about them. But that's not going to be the case. Nobody's going to give a fuck when you die. Okay? Nobody's going to give a damn. You're just going to be another piece of shit on the ground. All right? And it's harsh, but guess what? The treatment that you people have given to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai and his men has been harsh. All right? That's why Jeremiah said, amongst the vanities of the Gentiles, of the heathen, you know, who can give rain, who can give any of these things that the Lord provides to you wicked ass people every day, and yet they're ungrateful. You know, the air that you breathe, the Heavenly Father designed this for man to thrive, specifically his men, the sons of God. All right, and through that kingdom being set up, all the other nations are going to benefit. All right, and they're going to serve us. They're going to be our slaves, and they're going to benefit from being our slaves. All right, that's how great and magnificent our kingdom is going to be. Even our slaves are going to be benefiting. All right, but in this world, it's not so, and people don't appreciate the basic necessities that the Lord provided. But when those things are stripped away, then they're going to understand. All right, it says, neither shall men tear themselves for them in mourning to comfort them for the dead, neither shall men give them the cup of consolation to drink for their father or for their mother. Yeah, the cup of consolation going into, you know, when people would pass away back then, they would pass around yayan to comfort you, you know, to kind of dull your senses a bit and help you to mourn, you know. But now that ain't gonna be happening. They ain't gonna give a damn about Quantavious enough. That the ICE troop kicked your ass, man. You got the Black Panther dude popped up. I'm sure y'all brothers seen the video. The dude popped up and said that basically, you know, I got the big gats and this and that. You know, I wish you could try me. They have robot dogs, nigga. What don't you understand about that? Okay, robot fucking dogs, bro. If they can have a robot bear, all right, robot alligator, robot fucking pterodactyl. Okay. Anything you think of, there's a robot version of it. You ever seen Mecha Godzilla from the movies? They can have some shit like that.
Yo, real quick, they actually have the ability to have drones that form into these kinds of animals and attack you at the same time. They actually have that right now.
Yeah. Yeah, on some what's that shit called? The Megatron and shit like that, you know? So what are you bragging and boasting in your carnal weapons for? And that dude looked like he was just set up to say that shit just to incite. Because I was watching Elder Demashapat's lesson, and he basically said, this dude is inciting a bloodbath. Because all of the dummies that follow you, it's going to be a straight bloodbath. You're going up against federal ICE agents, man. You're a fucking fool, man. You know? But let you and them niggas go ahead and march off into your own destruction. All right? Nothing about the Lord, nothing about repentance, nothing about humility. It's me and my guns, and I'm the toughest nigga. That ain't gonna cut it in these last days. All right? And now I'm gonna just read this and I'm gonna get past it, but it says, Jeremiah 16:8, thou shalt not also go in the house of feasting to sit with them to eat and to drink. So those days are over with, man. The party, to turn up, having a good time, all that fuckery, man, it's over with. Okay? And now y'all gonna have to bear the iniquity. All right, sin upon sin upon sin upon sin. And pridefully so. With no sense of repentance, no sense of humility. That's why in the book of Jeremiah we just read, don't lament or mourn for them. There will be none to lament or mourn for you. All right. And it's written because Jeremiah did have a sense of feeling bad for his people when you read the scriptures. But the Lord, the reason why it's there is because he had that sentiment. If you go out on the street right now and you see a Jake on the floor dying, somewhere in your mind, we're compassionate, we're merciful. We're gonna think like, yo, if I could help him, we would. But the Lord is gonna put a certain cold spirit on us, and we're gonna be, we're also gonna be a light to the rest of the elect that's out there. But if you're not of that and the Lord puts a spirit on, we're gonna know in that time not to have any dealings with you or help you whatsoever. You're gonna be cut off from the providence of Yahweh Shem Shah, from the protection. All right. Even if we reach out the hand, it's going to be like an invisible hand to you. You're not going to be able to grab. It's going to be like, them dreams where you're trying to run and you can't run, or you trying to do something so basic and simple you can't do it. That's what it's going to be like. And you're going to see us though. It's not like you're not going to see it. You're going to see the men of Yahweh Shem Shai. Lord's will we be those men, and you're not going to be able to reach that relief, that house, because the name of the Lord is a strong tower. You don't have it. And while it was presented to you, you denied it and you scoffed at it. So now we're going to laugh at you, and we're going to watch how you meet your doom. All right? You brothers got it.
Where's got anything else? Cool. All right. Well then. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But hey, just like brother said, we can wrap it up here. But going back to the title, nothing about this is normal. That he opened up our eyes to be able to see, and understand and tell, then stay away from the abnormality, right? Because when that time comes, at that point, there's no discussion, right? There's no talks, there's no nothing. All right. It's already set if you are going to be delivered or if you're not. And a lot of people are going to suffer the hard way, but hey, you made your decisions. So with that, Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. In closing, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.